Derps submission for Marcus's vs UROG for the month of November 2025. Make a YouTube video review of anything. Alright, well, as requested, here is my review of Episode 1, Desmond's Big Day Out. Episode opens on classic Smiling Friends dry conversation. I forgot how uncomfortable the episode gets less than a minute in, with the boss breastfeeding his little homunculus. Not very fun on a rewatch. I then get immediately humbled for having the episode playing without headphones when Pim starts shouting about loving kids.
I love kids, Charlie! I love kids!
Desmond's reveal will always be funny to me. It's a great moment for the episode. His depressing speech, followed by Charlie's realistic take that Desmond is probably fucked, is great and gets a good chuckle from me.
Hey, little buddy, how are you doing?
Oh my god!
Whoa!
Oh my god!
Whoa!
Hello. Well, life's not going that great for me. My wife left me, my kids left me, my dog died from a broken heart last fall. So, I don't know, yeah, probably just gonna end it all or something.
Pim, can I talk to you for a second? Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause. He's obviously made up his mind. Why don't we just cut our losses and get out of here?
Swapping back to Alan, I'm reminded of how strange of a guy he is at the beginning of the show, being both a Muppety character.
Aha! I got you, you dang mouse. I will get you. Nobody takes Alan's precious piece of cheese and gets away with it.
And the straight man.
Hey, sorry to bother you, but, did you see a mouse run through here by chance?
I don't know. Yeah, no clue, man. Maybe try down there.
Thanks, I'll check it out.
Alan is definitely at his funniest when he's playing the straight man. This is something they will realise as the show goes on. The follow-up scenes at Pim's house, the house party, and Daveland, where they're trying to cheer up Desmond, are all pretty underwhelming, with gags being pretty just meh. Everything feels quite rushed, with it feeling like they're trying to fill every second with a joke, only to not have any of them really hit their mark. Alan's adventure for the episode is also pretty underwhelming, being mostly lol-so-random type humour you would expect from older YouTubers. A lot of these issues, I think, are coming from the fact that the pilot was written way ahead of the rest of the show, and they didn't really have the time or the experience translating their comedy from YouTube to the small screen. Jumping back to the main plot, we have Desmond's depressing speech on how fleeting happiness truly is, breaking Pim in the process.
Do you feel any better?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, that's great. Charlie, we did it. Successful mission.
For a bit, then it ended, like good things always do.
Huh? Well, yeah, but nice things can't last forever.
That's exactly it. Are the best parts of life really just finding momentary distractions to keep yourself busy so you don't think about the harsh realities of life for a second? I can ride roller coasters, meet new friends, and spend time with my family all day long. It doesn't change the fact that the sun is just gonna explode. And all this was for nothing.
Charlie's meager follow-up attempting to point out some cool ants before ultimately admitting defeat and getting Desmond to come back to the office to fill out some paperwork before he blows his brains out is probably the highlight of the episode for me. The ending bit of Alan being crucified by the Blibbles, his cry for just wanting his cheese,
I just wanted my cheese.
and Desmond's swift execution of said Blibbles plays like a classic Newground animation using old-school YouTube internet humour. As mentioned before, this type of humour doesn't translate amazingly well to the small screen and comes off a little awkward. This is unfortunately a theme that will take the boys a while to break free from. Despite my nitpicking, I would say the pilot episode is quite good overall. Having watched a lot of Zarkado's content outside of Smiling Friends, you can really see his style and sense of humour oozing into every second of the episode, for better or for worse. Now, I must also admit that I have a bias towards projects like these. The project's born from the passion of a couple of individuals who put everything they had into making it happen. Zach Hale spent years joking with his friends about making something like this, and to see it come to light just fills me with joy. Final rating, 9 out of 10. Episode 2, Mr. Frog. It took a little over a full year for a full season of Smiling Friends to be ordered by Adult Swim, and then a further 8 months for the first season to fully start airing on January 10th, 2022. I remember the opening of this episode being posted everywhere when the show first started airing. Mr. Frog is a classic Zack-style character, and the Mr. Frog show a classic Zack what-if ramble. Again, this is classic YouTube humour, I just don't think it's that funny. We then get the setup for the plot of the episode with Mr. Frog being cancelled for trying to eat a reporter. We also get my favourite joke of the episode.
You know, I've never seen the Mr. Frog show. Is it any good?
I mean, you really only have to watch like season 4 through 17, pretty much. The rest you could just skip.
I really resonated with Jacob the Goblin this episode, with him showing my experience job hunting fresh out of school.
Next up, we have Jacob the Goblin from the Enchanted Forest.
Hello, I'm Mr. Frog.
Hey.
Yes?
Get out. Now.
Glep then arrives to interview to replace Mr. Frog on his show, kicking off the side plot for the episode. The director mocks Glep. Glep proceeds to spit in his face, and for some reason this lands Glep the role. We will find that this side plot isn't very good and is not very funny. It took me until editing this video to realise that Glep probably comes from the magical forest with his weird little wizard hat. We then jump back to the A-plot with Pim and Charlie visiting Mr. Frog, brainstorming a way to try and save his reputation. Mr. Frog himself is a pretty simple character at this point in the show, with his main shtick being him saying hello a lot and not being sorry for trying to eat the reporter or generally being an ass. In an abrupt jump back to the B-plot, we have Gleb doing a script reading for the next episode of Mr. Frog, with everyone losing their shit when Gleb starts to spit. This on its own isn't funny, but having the director come up to Gleb after the reading and getting all serious, telling him to cut the spitting bit out, as it isn't funny, is itself funny, I think. This episode really started getting me to question if I fully understood what's funny and what's not, or if I just can't tell the difference between build-ups from jokes. We then jump back to the A-plot, with the boys trying a variety of schemes to improve Mr. Frog's reputation, like a fan signing,
Can I get a selfie with you, Mr. Frog?
donating money to charity,
Hello. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
and going on Jimmy Fallon.
Like, what was the worst part about, like, the whole ordeal, like, working on your show?
Probably working with all those filthy.
Surprising no one, none of their plans seem to work, only making Mr. Frog's reputation worse. As mentioned before, Mr. Frog is a classic Zack character, and all the gags he's involved in is classic Zack humour, especially all the jokes regarding Charlie's uncle. The remainder of the episode is pretty bland, with the new Mr. Frog show being unpopular with the director's changes. Mr. Frog arrives on set and eats the director, which the crowd loves, saving his reputation, for some reason. I personally think it's a pretty lame ending to the episode. Not saying I could do any better, but I'm not a comedian. Overall, a much weaker follow-up to the first episode, with a lot of gags not being that funny. Still, there are some standout bits that kept me entertained. Final rating for the episode, 5 out of 10. Episode 3, Shrimp's Odyssey.
We've decoded the intel from the First Order spy, and it confirms the worst. Somehow, returned.
I really enjoy the opening conversations on Smiling Friends. They're incredibly dry, which I find quite entertaining. However, I might also be going insane because I've watched these dozens of times back to back, getting clips for the review. We then get the setup for the A-plot for this episode, with the boys having to help Shrimp get his girlfriend, Shrimpina, back.
Pim, sometimes it just doesn't work out, okay? She obviously dumped him for a reason.
Hooray! I just reached level 987413 in Mouse Quest.
Man, who would waste their time on a game just to watch a pointless number go up?
Number 15. Could I get the number 15?
Look, it's the funny Burger King man. Wait, no, not that one. The boys decide to split up, with Pim going to find Shrimpina to convince her to give Shrimp another chance, and Charlie gets Shrimp a new fit.
How do I look, yellow man?
A tan.
Wow, look at that. You've got that iconic shrimp glow that everyone's talking about.
And ripped. Pim starts to fall for Shrimpina, beginning to set himself up for a blind date with her. Over the course of the episode, Pim realizes he's being shellfish before coming clean. The amazing punchline for the episode being that the girl Pim found wasn't even Shrimpina. But it ultimately doesn't matter. And, well, yeah, that's it. That's the whole episode. 9 minutes of build-up for a punchline. This episode feels like the writers only think it's funny because it's so unfunny that the idea of someone watching this episode expecting a great joke by the end is itself funny, even though it's not funny. Does this make any sense? I might be going mad. Marcus, why did you do this to me? Not a lot to say really with this episode. I feel like the quality is slowly dipping down, with a lot of raw YouTube humour just bleeding its way in, dragging it down. Final rating, 4 out of 10. Episode 4, a silly Halloween special. Definitely the most unique opening of the season, with it being a Twilight Zone-esque live-action bit with an unnamed suited man describing how children should be afraid of real fears, like witches and ghouls, not war and terrorism. I wonder how much the suited man knew about the show when filming his scenes. Like, did he know who Zack and Mike were beyond the people paying his payslip? It is also worth noting that this is the first episode that Zack and Mike were actually allowed to start writing scripts for the episodes. This is immediately apparent with characters like Mr. Boss being utilised way more efficiently for setting up jokes and delivering punchlines. Perhaps I was wrong, and YouTube humour does work in this format. Zack and Mike might have just needed a little more freedom to properly make it work. After the opening bit, we have a conversation between all the boys, with Charlie being a humbug about Halloween, not wanting to risk dressing up or putting on face paint lest he gets cancelled in the future. Mr. Boss then informs everyone that Halloween cannot continue without more firewood for the traditional Halloween bonfire. He issues Pim the mission for the episode of heading across the road to the woods to collect some firewood. However, he warns Pim not to cross the rickety bridge, lest he get lost.
If you look hard enough, you should be able to find something.
Yeah, that sounds pretty easy. I should be able to do that.
Wait! One more thing. Whatever you do, don't go beyond the rickety bridge.
Pim ignores Mr. Boss's warnings, and in search of better firewood, he heads across the rickety bridge. He intends to use chalk markings on trees to help guide his return home. Whilst a solid plan in theory, a rainstorm rolls in, beginning to wash off all of Pim's markings, making him, as you'd expect, lost in the woods.
Oh, fudge.
Hey, at least there wasn't a weir. We then have an extended horror sequence of Pim finding an abandoned shack he decides to take shelter in before a tree demon turns up, chasing him back to the Smiling Friend's office. Honestly, the pivot into horror is done quite well, and it actually got me feeling the spooks a little, even though I have watched this episode about 1,000,000 times now.
Whoa! Is that blackface, dude?
No. This isn't blackface. I'm an actual demon.
Bro, please tell me that's not blackface.
Not cool, man.
No. You don't understand. I'm literally a forest demon from across the bridge. This isn't a costume.
Get the f out, man!
You see, it's funny because that's the thing that Charlie was talking about earlier in the episode. That's funny, right? The tree demon proceeds to get beaten to death, torn apart and eaten, and turned into the Halloween fire. It's pretty funny, but it does go on for a tad too long. We then return to the live-action section for the closing bit, and again, it just makes me curious, like, how much did this guy know? Like, was he aware they put a fart sound in as he walks away? I guess I'll never know. Overall, the quality has drastically improved. On the original draft of this script, I couldn't really tell why this episode worked better than the previous ones, but discovering Zach and Mike had actually been let loose on the script cleared everything up for me. Final rating 8 out of 10. Episode 5 Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty? The episode opens with Charlie and Pim having just finished watching a movie. The conversation they have coming out of the cinema is literally every conversation I've ever had with friend group B when finishing a movie.
What did you think, Charlie?
I don't know, man. I didn't really enjoy it that much, to be honest.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. Look, to be completely fair, I did really enjoy the scene when Bimblar went rogue and he beat that woman in the head with the hammer. I thought it was artistically and, tastefully done. I thought it was a well-done sequence.
It's funny, that was the part I really didn't like.
Again, a very dry opening, but still funny. With Charlie's hunger growing, he decides to swing by Salty's. Everyone knows a Salty's. It's a greasy restaurant with great tasting food that's just so unhealthy it would kill you if you had it more than once a year. Charlie tries to order a salty surprise, but is told by the mascot, Ketchup, that they are unable to make it. Charlie wants to talk to Salty, where they then discover that he has been murdered, with a knife protruding from his chest. They then logically try to call the police. However, the police refuse to come, saying that they now outsource all murder mystery cases. Charlie's phone then immediately rings. It's Mr. Boss, giving them the quest for the episode, solving the murder mystery of Simon S. Salty. I love this gag. It got a good chuckle from me.
Salty's been murdered!
911, what's your emergency?
Yeah, I'm at Salty's restaurant on Meat Boulevard. Simon S. Salty has been murdered!
Yeah, after some recent budget cuts, we're no longer in charge of murder mysteries. Another team handles that now. They'll be on their way shortly.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Hello?
Hey, Charlie, the owner of the famous Salty's restaurant was just brutally murdered, and I need you and Pim to figure out who did it. Thank you, bye.
It looks like we're technically in charge of solving this.
I don't know why I find front-facing Charlie just so unnerving. It just feels wrong. Unfortunately, the murder mystery investigation itself is pretty underwhelming and doesn't really do much for me. The wacky mascots are all just kind of with the only bit in the sequence I found funny being Charlie and Mustard.
Can't a poor mustard like me ever have a little fun?
Yeah, everyone likes fun.
You like to have fun too?
I mean, you're asking about me? I mean, I like fun, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I already said yes.
After interviewing all the mascots, the boys discover a secret door leading to a secret room, where they find Sentry Egg, an item that was on the menu but had been removed for being, well, a rotting egg. For some reason, I find Sentry Egg to be the best character of the episode. I have no idea why, he's just an old rotting egg in a basement, but I still find him funny. The boys discover a surveillance system in the secret room. Sentry Egg offers them the surveillance tapes if they agree to bury him in Changbai, a remote Chinese village. They agree and gather everyone for the reveal. The tape reveals that all the mascots tried to kill Salty, but he died of a heart attack just before all of the murder attempts. The mascots then claim they are innocent, as none of them actually murdered Simon S. Salty, so they are guilty of no crime. And, well, that's it. I kind of feel like a dick expecting a better mystery for the episode, but then why make a murder mystery episode if you're not going to do an interesting mystery? Now, you could make the argument, well, derp, it's a comedy show, it's not meant to be a mystery show. But, the episode wasn't even that funny. I don't think I would care as much if it was funnier or if they had more interesting characters, but, well, they don't. Now, the post-credit gag of the gang actually going to China to bury Sentry Egg as per his dying wish, only for Charlie to then dig him up so they can all taste a Sentry Egg, was great, and this will earn the episode an extra point.
Did we have to come all the way to China to do this?
It's what the egg wanted, Alan. You know what's messed up? He probably tastes even better right now than he did before.
You know, what do they taste like? I've never tried a Sentry Egg before.
Really? Okay, you have to try it at least once.
Overall, it's a pretty boring episode, and doesn't really have much going for it outside of a few funny gags. The episode has definitely suffered the most with the rewatches that I've done for the review. Final rating 5 out of 10. Episode 6, Enchanted Forest. The episode opens with the boys at the office, and in a pleasant surprise we are almost immediately presented the main plot for the episode, getting the Princess of the Enchanted Forest to smile. As much as I like the cold openings the show has, sometimes it is just nice to jump straight into the action. The follow-up bit of Charlie and Pym being tempted by a bunch of pointless side quests before they can even reach the castle, which is
right there,
plays like 50% of every D&D games ever played. As they're walking through the forest, a witch steals Charlie's hat. Pym decides to do a quest for her. He needs to pick one of the witch's hands. He picks wrong, and then the witch blows some magic roofie dust onto them. They awaken half naked in a cauldron in the witch's cave miles away from the princess's castle, where they are eventually saved by the wacky character for the episode, Mip. Charlie's delivery of "We were right there, man" is just so perfect, it never fails to get a chuckle from me.
Oh, we were right there, man!
After having saved the boys from the witch, Mip explains that he's also heading to the princess's castle to deliver her a package. They all then agree to set out together, much to Pym's dismay. Their first quest in the magical forest is a tree with a thorn sticking out of it. Pym acts like every single D&D player ever, trying to deduce the complex riddle before him. Charlie then acts like every player the DM wishes they had, by just removing the thorn.
Help, help! The thorn is killing him!
Oh, I know what this is. It's a riddle. Let's see. Perhaps we have to find out what the thorn represents in a metaphorical sense, and then...
Does anyone try just taking it out?
It came right out.
We then get a musical number of the trio travelling through the magical forest, with Charlie having a great time completing quests and Pym, well, not. Honestly, the travel sequence does nothing for me, and just makes the episode really drag. The trio then arrive at the entrance of the castle, and decide to rest for the night. We then have an extended bit of Mip and Charlie flirting, because why not? Again, this sort of stuff just drags the episode out, and it's just not that funny. Throughout the course of the episode, Pym has been turning into Gollum. He tries to steal Mip's package for the princess, and Charlie tries to stop him. The resulting kerfuffle ends with Mip being impaled by a spear that's sticking out of the ground. Mip's overly graphic death is a fun tonal shift, with it then twisting back to the fantasy trope of, "Oh, finish my quest," then snapping straight back to Mip demonically melting away, was quite good.
Perhaps you're right. Perhaps all along, this was your quest. Please deliver it to the princess for me. You can tell her it was from you. I grant you my one quest.
Just hold on, Mip. You're gonna be fine.
I never meant to interfere with such a wonderful friendship. Mip becoming cold. Mip going into the light. Mip fading away.
Just
all right, go into the
Just
light.
try to relax.
Oh shit! I was not expecting
that genuinely took me off guard.
The boys, less Mip, then head up to the castle and present her with his package. The princess then reveals that Mip was her stalker, and is the reason why she has not been able to smile. They then all realise that no one actually knows what's inside the package.
Did you just say Mip?
Yeah?
Yeah, Mip, yeah.
Oh my god.
Did you know him?
He was the entire reason I haven't been able to smile for my portrait. He's my stalker.
What?
You joking?
No, seriously. I've blocked him on everything, and I've had to move twice because of him. So, what's in the package then?
I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh my god, that was Bob the whole time?
I love this reveal. The episode does a great job building up the joke throughout the entire episode. However, it does make me more frustrated with the previous episode, as it proves they can put off a good mystery twist, but they didn't for the mystery twist episode. I just don't get it. Upon disclosing the fact that Mip is dead, the princess smiles. The boys then realise that they've completed the job. There's an awkward silence for a few seconds, and then everyone parts ways, and the episode ends. A pretty strong closing gag in my opinion.
Oh, good. So I guess we did it, right? We technically made you smile?
Yeah, I guess you did.
cool.
In earlier drafts of this script, I had rated this episode quite highly. However, as I rewatched the episode over and over for clips and notes, I found myself getting more and more exasperated with all the sequences between the bits. I really struggled to rate this episode. I think it starts off really strong, and then the middle just kind of drags for a bit, but then it ends really strong as well. It's hard to tell if the internet's just ruined my attention span, or if this episode is just really that slow in places. Final rating 7 out of 10, and I think I'm being generous with this one. Episode 7, Frowning Friends. Starting the episode, we have my favourite cold open of the whole show. They also set up my favourite gag of the whole season, the Renaissance Men.
The Renaissance Men are coming in town.
Who are they? Who's the Renaissance Man?
Oh, it just says here. It just says here that the Renaissance Men are coming in town. And by the looks of it, it's like super soon. It's like really soon.
Who are the Renaissance Men? I don't know who they are. Like the Renaissance Fair?
Dude, I'm just telling. Look, I'm just telling you what I'm reading here, man. That's all I know. You know as much as I know. I'm just reading off this thing. It says the Renaissance Men are coming in town really soon.
Okay.
Like ASAP.
I just don't know what that means. I don't know what that is.
I don't really know why this is my favourite bit. It just kind of is. I truly am writing the most insightful review of this show. It also took me until writing the script to realise that Alan is just the Smiling Friends accountant. He's almost always working on spreadsheets, and in this opening he's taking stock of the inventory in the fridge. This makes me like him more as a character. Everyone is then disturbed by construction noises, where we are introduced to the villains of the episode, Grim and Gnarly of the Frowning Friends. Initially I thought that Grim and Gnarly were pretty lame characters, only existing to be punchlines, but upon rewatching I noticed a little more to them. They're opposites to Pim and Charlie. They're a lot more open with each other about being good friends, and more often than not are a bit more supportive in their day-to-day.
Shut up, man.
Good one, Gnarly. I love you.
And I love you, Grim.
The boys then go back to tell Mr. Boss of the Frowning Friends, with Mr. Boss clearly being distressed with this new competition. I think by this point in the show the writers have really nailed Mr. Boss as a character, with him being able to jump between silly and serious incredibly well. Just all of his jokes, for me, just land perfectly.
Excuse me, Mr. Boss?
Wait. One sec.
God damn it! Okay, go. What's up?
We just wanted to bring to your attention that a new company moved in across the street called the Frowning Friends, and we just wanted...
Frowning Friends?
Pim and Charlie then decide to wander the streets in search of people to help smile. They come across a SoundCloud rapper who claims that just moments ago Charlie and Pim said that he should give up on his dreams and that his music was trash. The punchline being the dude screaming, "Get out of my head, man," is very annoying.
Man, I don't know what to think no more, man. Okay, let's de-escalate. No one's messing with your head. Nobody's messing with your head. Get out of my head. No, nobody's messing with your head, man.
It's just too long, and it's even more annoying by the fact that the next bit's punchline is literally the same thing.
No, I've definitely seen you two before. You're trying to mess with me. Get out of my head. Get out of my head! Get out of my head!
You're my head! Nobody's messing with my head!
Just the worst. The boys then come across 3D Squelton, trying to help him smile. However, they are interrupted by Grim and Gnarly, who descend from a helicopter, only to keep Squelton upset. Now, initially, much like the previous sequences, I didn't really care for this one at all, and I found them pretty underwhelming. However, with my many rewatches, I realised that Grim and Gnarly, despite being in town for less than a day, have been exceedingly efficient at making everyone frown. This is because they are opposites of Pim and Charlie, who are, despite Pim's enthusiasm, pretty bad at their job, usually taking an entire day and in some cases days to make people smile. The extended sequence of Mr. Boss losing it talking to his imaginary investors is great, although I hate being reminded of his little homunculus child. The follow-up sequence of Mr. Boss arguing with himself at the mirror is also great. Eventually his reflection pressures him into dealing with the Frowning Friends. Editing Derp here. I'm embarrassed that it took me 3 weeks into this review to realise that this is a reference to the Green Goblin scenes in Spider-Man 1. I don't know why it took me so long to realise. It's one of Zach's favourite things to reference. Such a fool I am. Upon failing to make people smile, the boys return to the office, only to see Grim and Gnarly have almost taken over the entire town with their frowning. Grim also lets slip that they want to secretly kill all the Puerto Ricans. Again, being opposites to Pim and Charlie, Grim and Gnarly are exceedingly good at their job, and I'm not sure if I'm looking too deep into this, but the fact that they want to eliminate the Puerto Ricans is because Pim and Charlie are good lines, so they have to be evil, so why not kill the Puerto Ricans? In homage to Die Hard, Mr. Boss charges his way through the Frowning Friend's office, where he then threatens to shoot Grim. Grim then proceeds to piss his pants, causing the town to turn on the Frowning Friends and disperse. And again, I'm probably looking far too deep into this, but as Grim and Gnarly are opposites to Pim and Charlie, whilst they are very good at their jobs in the short term, they ultimately fail at their goal. Whereas Pim and Charlie normally stumble their way through a job, but do get there in the end. Mr. Boss then steps up as the hero of the story, actually getting the Frowning Friends to smile, only for them to then be immediately killed by the Renaissance men who just arrived in town.
Fire!
Charlie, what was that? What just happened?
Oh, the Renaissance men came into town finally. I literally told you at the beginning the Renaissance men were coming into town. He didn't believe me.
Well, so you knew they were going to come and kill Grim and Gnarly with arrows and stuff?
No, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Who are the Renaissance men? I don't know what that means, because that's not Renaissance. But that's not. They don't look like Renaissance men. What?
I literally,
like
I don't know.
Completely different era.
I'm literally telling you the extent of my knowledge. I knew that the Renaissance men were coming into town. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Editing Derp again here. I think the reason I like the Renaissance men bit so much is it reminds me of talking about the news with my dad, with him expecting me to have more information for my opinion, despite the fact we literally just watched the same thing. Overall, since starting this review, this episode has really grown on me, but I'm not sure if it's because I've started seeing more depth than there actually is. However, it does also include my favourite bit of the season. So, final rating, 10 out of 10. Totally no bias here. Episode 8. Charlie dies and doesn't come back. Alrighty, time for the season finale, and it's a Christmas episode. Normally, festive episodes really struggle to hold up on rewatches, but the Halloween special was pretty good, so here's hoping. We start with a traditional Christmas voiceover, introducing our cast, letting us know it's Christmas Eve, and calling Charlie out for being a bit of a humbug. Mr. Boss arrives and gives them a job 5 minutes before closing. Charlie reasonably gets quite upset about this, saying he was just about to go home. But hey, there's still 5 minutes left on the clock, so he does still need to do his job. We then find out that the job is actually going out into the woods in the middle of the snow to cut down a Christmas tree. I'm now 100% on Charlie's side. This is such an unreasonable request. It's 5 minutes before closing. You can't do that. There's an extended sequence of Charlie understandably complaining and just wanting to get the job done quick, and Pim then unjustifiably calling him out, saying he's not being enthusiastic enough about the job. Charlie then claps back by saying just because Pim tries to be positive 24/7 doesn't mean that he has to be, and the fact that he doesn't isn't impacting anyone else apart from Pim. Honestly, the whole argument between the two of them is done incredibly well. They both bring up good points and provide evidence from prior episodes, but I still think Charlie is ultimately in the right here. I mean, who wants to work this close to Christmas? The gang eventually settle on a tree, with Charlie insisting on cutting it down in spite to prove that he is helpful. The tree then proceeds to fall on him, killing him instantly.
Careful, Charlie.
Pim, I'm just helping out, right? Something that I never do, according to you, right? Oh, is this putting anyone in a bad mood, huh? Is this putting anyone in a bad mood?
After a short, trippy montage, Charlie wakes up in
IG double hockey sticks! I am your master now. There is your hell mattress. There is your hell toilet. And this is Jeremy, your only form of hellish entertainment.
Dude, if you do that again, I'm gonna punch you. I'm not kidding.
Honestly, it's a pretty good depiction of hell. I mean, I wouldn't want to use that toilet. Also, we get the setup for a joke I'm sure anyone vaguely aware of Smiling Friends has seen: Jeremy. Charlie learns that Hell's gone to hell as Satan is feeling down in the dumps, so Charlie decides to go and cheer him up, as, well, he is a smiling friend. Charlie comes across his grandma, who points him towards Satan. She then proceeds to do just vile things to a lollipop. There's then a travel sequence of Charlie's journey through hell, and it's accompanied by a pretty good musical number. It's honestly nice to have a little break between the bits, and it's a nice change from it just being a dry conversation.
Okay, I'm almost there. I think the biggest surprises are behind me. Dude, I warned you. I said I was going to do that if you did that again.
An amazing bit and callback. I see why this got clipped and shared so much when Season 1 first came out. It's a perfect example of silly to serious done right. If anyone else has been hit in the throat before, they know how accurate Jeremy's groans are. Eventually, Charlie reaches his destination, Satan's door. He claims he's there to make him smile, where the door slowly creaks open and we're introduced to Satan.
What's up?
Satan is someone that has realized something very important that some people don't realize until it's too late. Paperwork is boring, and you should just pay someone else to do it for you. Unfortunately, Satan is dealing with all of the paperwork of hell himself, leading him to be burnt out and depressed. The whole extended sequence with Satan is great, and a pretty accurate representation of someone suffering burnout from their job. Now, I did also think, why doesn't Satan just get the denizens of hell to do paperwork as some sort of punishment? But then I realized that someone's still going to need to check it, so he's kind of stuck. Charlie tries to help Satan by saying maybe he should eat healthier. This upsets Satan further, with him claiming Charlie is just judging him. Satan then takes a hit from his vape, where Charlie rightly points out that he's just using the vape as an escape from the conversation. Satan then starts crashing out, saying that he's not addicted to his vape, and Charlie's just pissing him off, so he's going to torture him for all eternity now. Whilst being tortured, Satan claims it brings him great joy to torture Charlie. So, Charlie then claims that he's completed his mission and should be allowed to go free, as he's made Satan smile. Charlie once again proves that whilst he and Pim are not great at their job, they do always eventually reach their goal. Charlie especially this episode showing some actual genuine understanding as to what is affecting Satan's mental well-being. Now, Satan never actually agreed to let Charlie go, so he rightly says he's going to continue torturing him. But God descends from heaven, breaking Charlie free from hell.
A deal's a deal! Quickly, Charlie, get on!
Blast! Foiled again!
You passed my test, Charlie. By helping the evil devil, you confronted your own problems. I hope you learn from this cool experience.
I totally forgot that Gilbert Gottfried voices God, and it's wild to think that this is one of the very last roles he did before his death. God then proceeds to resurrect Charlie by throwing him from orbit directly at his coffin at his funeral.
Merry Christmas!
It's a Christmas miracle.
The episode closes out with Charlie explaining to everyone that he went on this magical adventure in hell that he just doesn't want to talk about, as it was incredibly unpleasant. And well, fair enough.
Charlie! How is this possible?
Look, I could barely explain the nutty adventure I just went on, so I'm not going to. I don't want to talk about it. I see the devil.
Honestly, a great episode, and considering this could have been the last time we saw the Smiling Friends, I think they nailed it. There was no guarantee that this would be renewed for Season 2. I mean, honestly, it's a miracle that they even got Season 1. My initial worries for this being a Christmas episode are completely gone. The story is able to hold its own, with Christmas just being a backing, really. Final rating, 10 out of 10. And seriously, no bias this time. So, overall, the ranking for Season 1 comes to a 7.25 out of 10. When I started this review, I was expecting it to not hold up that well, but a lot of these episodes are quite good. It just takes a little while for the writers to find their feet. The show definitely sees vast improvements once Zach and Mike are given a bit more control of the script. I also learned that Adult Swim censors had to step in more as the season kept going, trying to keep a lot of the gags more clean for TV. I personally think this was a great thing for the show, as it forced Zach and Mike to put a bit more thought into their gags, removing a lot more of that awkward YouTube humour. Now, as mentioned at the beginning of the review, I do hold a lot of bias towards liking these types of shows. I love seeing things that people really put their heart and soul into getting made despite the odds. Most YouTuber created content like this is crowdfunded through things like Patreon or GoFundMe, but Zach and Mike actually managed to get Adult Swim to approve, back, and fund their project. I mean, that's an incredible achievement that should not be taken lightly. And well, that wraps it up for season 1 of Smiling Friends. Now, this video is either going to end abruptly right now, or if I manage to get it done just before the deadline, Episode 9, Smiling Friends Go to Brazil. I remember hearing how Smiling Friends would be getting more episodes and the announcement of the Going to Brazil episode. I was overjoyed to see it being renewed for another season. Again, I am a sucker for passion projects. Going to Brazil was sold as this amazing episode that the team just could not wait to show everyone. They really hyped it up on the build up to its release. A lot of people hated the rug pull, but I honestly found it great. It was just very Zach. The episode opens with the boys having just departed their plane, landing in Brazil. They're excited and they ask Pim where they're going to be staying, but Pim then claims that Alan was in charge of booking the hotel. Now here's the deal. Alan says he sent Pim a link to book the hotel, implying that he was the one deciding on the hotel. Why didn't Alan just book the hotel if he was in charge of choosing the hotel? Asking Pim to book it separately is just stupid. Pim is adamant that he was only in charge of booking the flights, which he clearly did. If Pim was in charge of booking the hotels, why is Alan sending him links? Just leave it all up to Pim if that's the case. Now, I think Alan was meant to be booking the hotel, but for one reason or another, he just wanted Pim to do it instead, and just decided to forward him a link, assuming that Pim would start booking the hotel for him. I also find it incredibly annoying how Charlie is so frustrated at Pim, seeing as, from what I can tell, Charlie had no responsibility on this holiday, and is just moaning that they don't have a hotel, and assuming it's Pim's fault. However, as we will never see the messages between the boys, I guess we will never truly know who is in charge of booking the hotel. The gang proceed to argue between themselves, double-checking to see if there is a booking at the hotel, ultimately realising that there isn't, and it's actually Mardi Gras, so every hotel around them is probably fully booked at this point. The cast do a great job of depicting what it's like being in this sort of situation. The frustration building, the trying to keep everyone calm, and just desperately hoping that nothing's wrong and everything will work itself out. At this point, we're a third of the way through the episode, and I'm still loving it. The episode is drier than a cracker, but damn do I love crackers. The boys realise that they're kind of just in the way, so they decide to go to an airport cafe, sit down, order some chips, and try and figure out a game plan. They think to call Mr. Boss, but ultimately he's not of much help. Again, the cast do a great job of depicting what it's like being in this situation. They're trying to sort things out, but ultimately there's no solution. It's too late, and they're just slowly coming to the realisation that it's not going to work out. By this point, we're 2/3 of the way through the episode. And man, it is so dry. I feel like I'm in the middle of the Sahara Desert. But honestly, I still find it one of the funniest episodes of the entire series. Ultimately, after about 9 straight minutes of arguing, planning, and trying to desperately find a solution, the boys decide to just call the holiday off. They think, let's just take a plane back, and we'll plan better next time. In my eyes, this is just the correct solution. You could spend a ton of money trying to find a hotel last minute, but it's just not worth it. Just go home, cut your losses. Good call. And yeah, that's really it. There's not a lot to say about this episode. I mean, it's the definition of a dry conversation. Someone I know said that the episode is just people arguing in an airport for 10 minutes. And well, that's exactly what it is. But it doesn't stop it from being one of the funniest 10 minutes of Smiling Friends. I think this episode is just right up my alley for humour. and people are definitely going to disagree with me for rating it this, but final rating, 10 out of 10. My only complaint is that they only ate one handful of the chips before leaving. Criminal.